What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. I want to talk to you today about something that's going on in the car world right now. It's June 8th, 2021. So if you're watching this a long time from right now, this may not be relevant, but it may. But one of the things that comes up in financial coaching conversations fairly frequently for me is what do I do about my car? So a lot of people will buy a car, and as you might know, the depreciation curve is pretty steep at the very beginning. And so a lot of people find themselves in this corridor of car loans where they owe more on the car than the car is worth, right? And so it's one of these things where, let's say suddenly they lose some income or lose a job, or maybe they were on the bitter edge of affordability with the car payment as it were, and suddenly something else changes, right? And they can't afford the car loan and they can't sell it because they would have to pay out money to satisfy the loan at the time of the sale, and they don't have that money, right? So it's something that comes up a lot. And the average car loan, I think the payment is something like $580 a month, the average one. But I've actually worked with people who were paying $1,100 and $1,200 a month on their car payment. So I've seen a lot of different types of situations here, and a lot of them will ask, is there anything I can do? How do I walk away from this? And the reality is there isn't really a good solution for this. There are some where they can refinance it and stretch it out. It's really just kind of kicking the can down the road, but you're trying to solve this immediate pain of affordability. But you may have noticed in the news right now that there is a surge in prices for a lot of things, from homes and cars and computers. And a lot of this is driven by the shutdowns that various economies had and the lack of inventory there are for components and constituents. For right now, the housing market is kind of priced pretty high, and that's because construction supplies are hard to come by. We haven't been harvesting timber like we have. You can't get timber from across borders, some of those types of things. But the car market right now, as far as I can tell, is a variety of things. One, production in factories and having the staff and the factory workers there, but also in part by the lack of computer chips that cars require to run. So what they are doing here is throttling production in some cases, slowing it down, stopping or idling factories, and that's created a limited amount of supply of new cars. Now, that limited supply of new cars has meant that with cheap financing, a lot of people are looking for cars, which means that dealerships are really not selling cars for anything less than MSRP. Some are even marking it above MSRP, and that has raised the price of cars. Now, what that has done too is it's trickled down to the used car market as well. So used cars have actually seen a surge in prices. I've seen anywhere from 20 to 30% is kind of an estimate there. And so if you have talked to people who have been saddled or are trapped by a car and they're financing on it, this might be a good time to revisit that conversation with them and say, hey, maybe you should think about selling your car, right? So let's say someone owed $12,000 on their car, and when they last looked at it and tried to get out of it, they owed the car was only worth $10,000. So if they wanted to sell it, they would have to kick in another $2,000. And especially if people are struggling with affordability, they might not have that $2,000, right? And so they just continue to make that payment. And oftentimes they're just worried about the car getting repossessed. But if car prices have now inflated by 20% or 30%, they might be able to get on a sale of that car enough to satisfy the loan on their car, right? $12,000 and pay off the loan, and you're just hands-free of the car. It might be a good option for people. One of the things that I might say for people that are interested in doing this is just to take your car over to CarMax or a national chain, and they will give you an appraisal on your car and a cash offer. It's probably going to be better than going to a dealership. Most dealerships will give you wholesale pricing on a car. If you're taking a car that's a different brand than the dealer is, they're going to give you the price that they can actually get from the actual manufacturer dealership. So I would probably not try to sell cars to dealerships, although some dealerships are actually paying what I would call fairer prices right now because of the limited inventory and they want some cars on their lot. But CarMax is probably just a really easy way to go. It's very simple. It's very low pressure. I've had some cars appraised there myself. And that could be a situation where, that you might get a cashier's check that day for it. And if you really just want to get done with it and the numbers will work out for you, somewhere like CarMax might be the right place to go. I would say that if you have some patience and you're not necessarily in a lot of hurry, you could list it in places like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or AutoTrader or Cars.com. Get it listed and have some people come look at it, and you can probably eke out some more money by selling it as a private party directly to another private party. You can kind of optimize the income that way or the sale price that way. But if you just want it done easily, and for a lot of people who are maybe pressured by the car loan, the affordability, you don't want to necessarily stretch this out to a multi-week type of event. And especially if you're working full time, you've got other things going on, it might just be easier to sell it right away. But who knows what's going to happen? I saw that Ford is actually going to give $1,000 rebate or cash back on car sales because of the production delays. So I think that's going to help kind of lower the prices at the new car level, which might translate then to the used car level. But if you are working with people who have said, hey, this is an issue for me, I got in over my head, I got too much car, I have too much loan on it, whatever it is, this might be a really good opportunity, the timing right now to say, hey, let's talk about this again. Why don't you take your car to CarMax, get an appraisal and offer on it, see where your loan is at. Maybe this is something we can fix right now. Just kind of get $400, $500, $600 a month back into your pocket and sort it out later, especially when a lot of people are now working from home or working remotely. They're not commuting like they used to. Some people can do as much with fewer cars. Some people don't need a car at all. I've been thinking about downsizing my cars as well, just because of kind of where the market's at. So it's kind of a weird thing because usually used car prices depreciate pretty steadily, pretty straight line. And this is kind of a weird shortage that I really don't recall seeing in recent times. And so it could be an opportunity to kind of get free of it. So if you have people with a car issue, maybe a good opportunity for them. Maybe you're just thinking about selling a car. This could also be a good opportunity for you too. So hopefully that helps. I'll see you later.